This is Valley News Live at noon.
We start with breaking news this afternoon. Add travel to the activities vaccinated Americans can enjoy again, according to new guidance just issued by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. They say fully vaccinated people can travel within the U.S. without getting tested for the coronavirus or going into quarantine afterward. The new guidance says people should still wear a mask, social distance, and avoid crowds. That's come from the agency. Now, for international travel, the CDC says vaccinated people do not need to get a COVID-19 test before leaving, though some destinations say they require it. Now, officials say the update reinforces the safety and effectiveness of the vaccines and is another incentive for people to get vaccinated. Unvaccinated people are still advised to avoid unnecessary travel. Now, we're getting a look today at just how close the wildfire got to the amphitheater in Medora, North Dakota. Now, you can see the charred ground surrounding the area where thousands of people enjoy the Medora musical each year. The National Guard deployed 2 helicopters to help fight the wildfire that prompted the evacuation of the city of Medora. Now, Governor Doug Burgum declared a statewide wildfire emergency yesterday and will tour the damage with local, state, and federal officials today. Firefighters are asking people to drive with caution and avoid the area to allow first responders easier access. So far, the fire has scorched an estimated 3,000 acres. The Billings County Sheriff's Office says the fire was started by a downed power line. Well, just into our newsroom, a Crookston man is under arrest after driving the wrong way down a one-way and then leading police on a chase. Crookston police say they tried to stop Ruben Silva yesterday around 5:30 p.m. near the intersection of North Main Street and West 3rd Street. Silva continued driving and was eventually located near the river. He was arrested on Riverside Avenue and is charged with several things, including drug possession, fleeing a peace officer, theft, and DWI. The Army Corps of Engineers awarded a $2.2 million contract to Tunham Construction LLC of Fargo to complete the southern embankment portion of the FM Flood Risk Management Project. This part of the project will run about 2 miles long in Cass County. This congressionally authorized project is a 30-mile-long diversion channel. The plan includes a 21-mile southern embankment, 19 highway bridges, 3 railroad bridges, 3 gated control structures, and 2 aqueducts. The Corps says the project reduces flood risk for more than 230,000 people in Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo, Horace, and Harwood. Well, the weather is going to be warm for your Easter weekend. Let's check in with meteorologist Lisa Green. Hey, Lisa, and happy Friday.
Happy Friday. We're looking at some great conditions out there right now, aside, of course, from the wind and fire threat that is ongoing for us in the valley, but it is beautiful and sunny at least. We're looking at fire weather concerns here surrounding the valley and in parts of the valley under a red flag warning anywhere on the map that you see in red, including the Devil's Lake area, the Jamestown area, back over to Valley City and west toward Medora under that red flag warning starting at 1 o'clock this afternoon until 8 o'clock tonight. So fire danger continues, and even if you're not included in that, make sure you're keeping an eye on things anyway and following those precautions here today, because we're looking at some strong winds affecting us as we continue on into the afternoon. My computer's being a little slow here, but we essentially have some winds that are gusting into the 30s, and at times we've seen some 40-mile-per-hour gusts. We'll try to get those wind speeds for you here coming up in just a couple of minutes, but the bottom line is it's windy, and we're also warming up with that wind because it's coming in out of the south. And here's a look at our temperatures at 61 now in Jamestown. It's 54 in Fargo and 53 in Grand Forks. We'll be warmest to the west, and you could see some cooler temperatures to the east, but we're building that warmth here as we head into the holiday weekend. More details on that coming up in just a couple of minutes.
And we'll stay tuned with you to see what to expect this weekend, especially with Easter being on Sunday. Thanks, Lisa. Well, nearly 50 people are dead after a train partially derailed in eastern Taiwan today. It was hit by an unmanned vehicle that rolled down a hill. Survivors climbed out of the windows and walked along the train's roof to safety. The train was carrying more than 400 people, and more than 100 were hurt. The National Fire Service says all aboard have now been accounted for. A construction truck operated by the Railway Administration slid into the track from a work site on the hillside above. No one was in the truck at the time. An investigation has been launched. The jury in the Derek Chauvin trial has a short day today as they get into a more technical aspects of the trial. This comes after a week of very emotional testimonies from witnesses at the scene that day and police. Jay Gray has the latest from Minneapolis.
Hey there, and today a bit of a break for those inside of the courtroom. It's Good Friday, and the judge says that they're a bit ahead of schedule, so only a half day today of testimony. That comes after what was a full and very powerful day of testimony on Thursday that started with George Floyd's former girlfriend on the stand, very emotional, struggling to get through her testimony, followed by paramedics, the first on the scene who reached for a pulse, trying to find out if they could help George Floyd, said they did not find one, had to move officers out of the way to get Floyd into their ambulance and try and resuscitate him. And then closing with a police supervisor, retired now, but he was the supervisor that went to the scene after Floyd was transported that day. He was pushed by prosecutors about Derek Chauvin's use of force.
When Mr. Floyd was no longer offering up any resistance to the officers, they could have ended their restraint.
And that was after he was handcuffed and on the ground and no longer resistant.
Correct.
After a short day today and a break through the weekend, they will get back to things here on Tuesday. This trial still expected to last about 3 to 4 weeks. That's the latest here in Minneapolis. I'm Jay Gray. Back to you now.
New information on a California shooting that left 4 people dead. Officials say the gunman knew all the victims, and apparently before opening fire, he chained shut the gates to 2 entrances, delaying police from getting inside. Among the victims is a 9-year-old boy who was found cradled in the arms of a woman believed to be his mother. The woman was the only survivor among those shot. The others killed were a man and 2 women. Now, the suspect was identified as Amada Gonzalez. He was critically hurt and was unclear whether he suffered a self-inflicted wound or was shot by police. Officials say the shooting is just the worst in the city since 1997. As COVID-19 restrictions begin to ease, seating capacities are expanding at Minnesota venues. The rollback will allow thousands of fans to see live sports again. Indoor seated venues with capacity above 500 can now have an additional 15% of their max capacity with a maximum of 3,000 people. Large outdoor seated venues like Target Field get more leadway with an additional 25% of capacity and a maximum of 10,000 attending. Large gyms, restaurants, and bars can have more than 250 people if their regular capacity allows. The Island Park pool in downtown Fargo, along with the nearby bathhouse, are going to be replaced. The Fargo Park District sent a survey to users in November. And based on their feedback, amenities being considered include a 50-meter lap pool with a diving well, 2 to 3 large water slides, and a lazy river. Now, if all the amenities are included, the cost could be just under $16 million. The park board plans to start the tearing down the pool in the fall this year, with the new pool opening in 2023. Now, as we head into Easter weekend, area churches are providing options for people to attend or view services. At Lutheran Church of the Cross, you can worship inside the sanctuary, outside on the church lawn, or watch it online. In-person services will have reduced seating, masks are required, and people had to make a reservation. The outdoor Easter worship will allow people to social distance while listening to contemporary music, the worship band, and the children's message. The pastors say they are happy to see people coming back to in-person services again.
Really excited to see people who maybe haven't been to church since the pandemic started, and Easter for many people is such an important time that they don't want to miss it.
Communion will be provided in pre-filled cups with a seal on top. Well, coming up at noon, if you're still looking for ideas to fill up those Easter baskets, we got ideas for everyone in the family. And the dry conditions makes for fire weather concerns. Weather up next with meteorologist Lisa Green.